Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Shanghai Major Qualifiers. We're about to wrap up our North American coverage here. Final match of the day for this stream. Should be a doozy. It's going to be compLexity taking on Shazam. We've gotten rid of Aosin. He was actually falling asleep last game. And Dota tends to have that effect on people.
A couple of times, yeah.
So we've replaced him. Ben, you were dozing off earlier, which means you're very energized and ready to go for this next BO2.
I'm actually excited for compLexity Shazam.
It should be a good one, right?
Yes.
I feel like they're two really top teams. Well, I think compLexity probably, at least for me, is one of the favorites to come through the qualifiers as a whole. And then, how do you feel about Shazam as far as rating them and the other ones?
They're pretty good. Cloud9 was doing well, and then something happened, and they just lost everything, and then Theben left. But
Ritsu happened.
Something happened.
I mean, they still had very good results. They
That's
qualified for
It
MLG.
seemed like that was kind of the catalyst for everything, though. Like they had the big public blow up with him, and then they have to replace him. Then Theben gets an offer.
But now no one has any expectations for that team. They're just like,
That's
well,
true.
that team sucks now, so we don't have to worry about them. But maybe that's where they perform the best, because that's kind of what people had for the original club.
Well, look at the Europe qualifier where there's the heavy favorites, Liquid for Frankfurt going into it. They had a great group stage, and then they just crumbled in the playoffs. So you never know.
They had to make it to playoffs, though.
That's true.
I have some faith in Shazam.
I'd be interested to see them going far. I think that they're probably a dark horse, flying under the radar, like you're saying, and I don't know. This is going to be a good test for them.
I think their strats have a lot more potential, and I think that they can actually put a lot of teams under the gun with the Death Prophet and other heroes that they run to take down towers early. There's like two very different playstyles that we see. One's like the super safe from a few of the teams that we just saw, and then one's the super aggressive, super early. We can end games in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a very big clash of playstyles.
Yeah, can we actually take a look at the groups, Brian, just so we can kind of recap where we're at for those who were not really paying attention earlier, and as well as for us, just to get our bearings. So Shazam currently 2-0 in their first game. They took down Team Freedom. Haven't really faced the bigger name teams in the group, but they're off to a hot start. This will be compLexity's opener, so their first match.
A lot to prove. Well, not necessarily a lot to prove, but a lot that they want to come out there just tearing it up.
I think they're also the team with the big expectations.
Yeah.
They have some very accomplished players that they brought in from the European scene. Already compLexity was a team that did reasonably well with their old roster back at TI. So with that, it sounds like we do have a draft. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Shazam versus compLexity. Kapow! Woo! There we go.
Well, Invoker starting off with the ban there. We've also not going to be seeing Mr. Witch Doctor in the Darkseer. Witch Doctor, kind of an interesting ban there. Is that just they're thinking about this? Could we even be seeing like an IO? What's the first ban Witch Doctor about?
5 seconds remaining.
Witch Doctor has been surprisingly strong in the few games that I've seen him in.
Reserve time.
I'm not really sure why exactly now over other ones, but Shazam did run a heavy sustain with Necrophos plus Witch Doctor in the other game, and it was nearly impossible to kill Necrophos, and if you can't kill Necrophos, the whole team just lives. So I think maybe they're looking to, because Shazam, they ban heroes that are good but also good against anti-push, and Shazam ban heroes that are good at forcing things early as well as good sustain.
Interesting.
Fits in well with a lot of the pushing drafts, like you said, which seem to be all the rage.
Or it could just be an anti-wisp, which makes a lot more sense now.
Okay. Well, yeah, Death Prophet, and then right on into that, IO Tiny. I think that, probably, there's been a couple of times where I feel like we've seen IO Tiny run in the safe lane, but much more in this patch, considering it's been still a lot of the dual mid strategies going on. To me, at least, this feels like sort of the comfort place for them, but it does leave that other safe lane a little bit more weak to potentially very strong offlaner. Maybe like an Enchantress.
Enchantress is a double-edged sword in this particular draft just because of the heavy magic burst from Tiny. So I think this game they need to make sure they keep Tiny under check, which actually shouldn't be too difficult because they have the Link from Death Prophet, which is probably absurdly good against Tiny, considering his fairly low mobility and high HP.
It can also go the other way. If she gets tanky enough that he can't combo her, then you see Tiny just that hour-long wind-up to try and hit her once. But yeah, if she's behind, she's just food.
So
sure.
compLexity now has to think about where they want to pressure with the IO Tiny. Do they want to do top against a potentially offlane Enchantress, or do they want to concentrate on focusing on Death Prophet? Do they even know where Shazam's going to do their lanes? I'm sure they were watching their last
Reserve time.
games where Ritsu was indeed mid in both of those games as the Death Prophet. So they're almost certainly expecting a Death Prophet mid, I think. But the question is, where do they want to pressure? If they're like Shazam might pick up a Bane to kind of deal with a Tiny Wisp.
Well, and complexity has first pick here also, so it's going to be Shazam able to react to it afterwards and probably just keeping their draft open. I think that that's
10
going to set them up for it. Like, because the other thing that you could potentially see is an Enchantress just getting run down in the
5
bot lane
seconds
against a
remaining.
solo offlaner, and then usually there's not many matchups I feel like where she does completely and terribly awfully against just a solo offlaner. Particularly once you get a couple of levels on her. I think I saw like a Spirit Breaker matchup the other day, and she just completely owned him.
They can even jungle with Enchantress.
Yeah.
Because MSS plays Chens. If you can play Chen, you can definitely play Enchantress. So they could just aggro with Enchantress and just try and crush your lanes with a jungle enchant. Like the laning possibilities from Shazam are really, really wide open.
10 seconds.
And I
remaining.
think that might actually be what they what might be best for them, because this way they can limit the stacks from IO.
I think we see some aggro jungle. It's been a while since we've had
Reserve
that.
time.
I
It's
feel
been a
like.
while, but you can start off at your safe camp on the secret shop and then go to the jungle very easily. Before you didn't have that option. Like rotating from bottom all the way to top is very difficult, but
You either have to smoke, or you're definitely going to be scouted, and it just takes a long time.
yeah. But now you can take 2 camps out very, very quickly and just invade super early.
Interesting. Complexity banning out the Bat Rider. We did see a little bat play earlier, and I believe it was from Shazam. With
Yeah, his
pretty
bat
good
was
success, yeah.
really good, and it just, I would almost say like one-handedly just beat the opponent's team.
Yeah, that's definitely a respect ban, because they have Io, who
10
in theory is one of the
seconds
best supports to counter the lasso.
Yeah, but also on the
5
flip side, Bat
seconds
Rider
remaining.
can also be very good versus Wisp. I've seen a few like sick flame breaks to break tethers.
Reserve
It's
time.
also like if you lasso Tiny, like Io's just generally not in that great of a position to help him out,
Radiant
or you have to blow
team.
relocate that early. So Complexity actually take Bane for themselves. Bane I think is actually pretty good at dealing with enchant. He has pure damage. He has very good stats. Kind of decently high move speed, which is very important versus super fast BMB.
He can trade, like, that's the thing, he's going to be able to trade with anybody, and I at least would start to think twice about just throwing her solo there. But it's going to depend also on who the second hero is in that lane, or if they just end up doing just the straight up Io Tiny in the top lane with the Bane there as well. But I kind of like the idea now of maybe throwing somebody else as a stun in there. I'm not sure who that would be necessarily.
Do you
But-
need stuns versus enchants? I still haven't, like, Enchantress has been banned so often that I still haven't seen like that many great ways to deal with her. Like
It seems like having Magic Burst is generally the best strategy
10
versus her, but
seconds
yeah.
remaining.
I guess they like banned out the Quap, so I guess that's actually what they're scared of. Like a safe lane
5
Quap with a
seconds
Bane
remaining.
roam and IO Tiny mid, I
Ooh.
think would be really strong for Complexity. But I
I
don't
like
know.
I like the Bane pick. It sets up the relocate ganks. It's a strong laning support, as you guys already mentioned, and it still leaves them flexible with these last 2 picks.
Sleep Toss is strong.
Yeah, their level 1 is going to be deadly. Like, if anybody gets caught there at the very beginning. I guess they pick up Tusk, so there's a little bit more safeness going on there, but even still, it seems like if you end up running into complexity, if they like 5 mana rune, or even just 4 mana rune, they're probably going to be able to get it and kill somebody.
Still want to see what the other cores are going to be here for call. Start with Tiny IO. You somewhat tip your hand early, but they haven't fully committed to anything, be it heavy ganking. Do they want to go back for more team fight?
Well, and I think that's
Lina.
kind of why they do end up going for the Lina.
Radiant team.
I was thinking about Spirit Breaker again. Usually, normally a nice part of the IO Tiny strat because you can charge in and then relocate afterwards. But the laning stage, the Enchantress pick makes it that much less appetizing. Lina, do you think probably going for maximum mobility, Blink Dagger, Shadow Blade?
She doesn't really need that many items. I think she's just straight up a good counter to Enchantress. I didn't really think about it, but Fiery Soul to counter Untouchable, and then you have tons of magic to deal with
10
Enchantress. And you have
seconds remaining.
pretty long range, which is actually not that great versus Enchantress, because she'll just empty you back. But
5
like,
seconds
I
remaining.
actually think her toolkit's really good.
Yeah.
When I
Goes
saw,
well with the Bane as well.
Yeah.
Reserve time.
it's pretty strong. I think they might actually safely Lina, but either way it'll be strong. Like mid Lina with Bane Roam or Io Tiny mid with Lina's safe lane. I think either of those are fine for them. So Complexity is setting up for a pretty successful lane phase. And Shazam, I think, actually have the weaker lanes at this point.
Yeah, the Enchantress is still the very big wild card. Is it an off-lane Enchantress? Do they go defensive jungle? Does she try to roam a lot?
Safe lane carry.
There you go.
It could happen.
Safe lane jungle.
We just don't know.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go, Bambi? Your mom just died.
Complexities turn to value.
And Miss Vengeful Spirit. I feel like I'm always seeing this hero now. Like, you can either throw in the support role or off over in the carry as well. And part of those early push lineups, I mean, there aren't a ton of like super heavy right-click damage
seconds
dealers on
remaining.
this squad against towers. But now that you start
5
getting the
seconds
Vengeance
remaining.
Aura up, every single one of them is going to be able to hit that much harder against it, and Creep Seville as well.
And with a
Radiant
Death Prophet on your
team
team, you always want a defensive hero because she is easily bursted down. So having like a defensive swap and the Tusk Snowball is really, really strong.
AA going to be taken out, not going to be seeing him.
10
I wouldn't
seconds
have,
remaining.
yeah, there's no way that they could have picked that up themselves, but usually something to
5
counter
seconds remaining.
the push that's coming at you, but I guess that'd be pretty terrifying against the IO also.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised to see the AA ban out because it'd be super all-in for them to pick AA unless they ran, I guess, carry Enchantress or I mean carry Enchantress and carry Venge or carry Venge with a Death Prophet in mid is it still feels pretty all-in.
Another thing, I was talking to Steven about it earlier, and he was saying that Shazam really hasn't been scrimming with almost anybody. They're a complete wild card, and he doesn't really know who it is that they've been playing with. So kind of an
10
interesting
seconds
enigma that
remaining.
we've got. I mean, obviously we've seen a lot of the push strats that they've got going, but
I've seen them feeding
5
pubs.
seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
there you go. I guess that's the answer.
What have they been fiending?
Reserve time.
Everything.
Well, that doesn't help you draft against them, Ben.
Yeah.
So probably looking for their offlaner at this
10
point for
seconds remaining.
complexity. Initiator to set up ganks would be ideal.
5 seconds.
Beastmaster, that's a good solution.
Radiant
Gives them some
team
map control around the Roche pit. And
Inner
a little bit
Beast.
more push and Roche potential too.
Yeah. That Inner Beast aura, it's always just like so freaking crazy. I think that it might even be, well, probably not a block pick, but whenever I think about the early pushing strats, Beastmaster always just sticks out in my mind, and being able to get that attack speed up is going to be pretty helpful for Tiny.
10 seconds
So-
remaining.
Do you think that Shazam could have gone Beastmaster there?
5
Unlikely,
seconds remaining.
but still wouldn't be that bad. I mean, again, they could pick carry off lane.
Reserve
I mean, they could
Support
still
even,
run
like,
like
who
safe
knows?
lane Enchantress, Tusk, Venge support, and then get something else for the
Yeah,
offlane.
it really could be anything. I would kind of like. Let's see. What do they need? Do they need more tank? They probably need a mech carrier, I would say, for them. But I think they have good tools to deal with the complexity lineup, though. Like so much single target with the Bane and the Beastmaster that you can just easily swap or snowball and kind of deal with it. So maybe something to shore up their lanes.
Disruptor? Is he banned?
Disruptor. He's a little so-so. I think he's. I don't know. I just don't like Disruptor that much versus that amount of burst because he like kind of takes some time. Although it is pretty good versus Wiz. They also have nothing to really combo in that AOE. Maybe Death Prophet, but that's
Yeah.
a lot of overlap. What else?
Slark.
Wow.
Okay. Slark.
Slark's pretty bold.
Yeah.
It's a Mason specialty though.
Definitely one of his comfort picks.
He likes Slark a ton. He likes Necrophos. We've seen him play Mirana and Weaver. I'd say those
The
are probably-
Necrophos was really scary, the last game we saw from them.
Yeah. I don't particularly think Slark's a great pick here just because of so much AoE. Like, he can just die, stun toss, and then Lena, like, combo even when he's Shadow Dancing, like Beastmaster or Wild Axe. There's, like, a lot of AoE.
And if he's not able to get off his ult, he can just easily get Laguna'd or gripped.
But they don't have a strong off
They've
laner.
got AoE, they've got control. I mean, they've got everything that you could want for a Slark.
Yeah, generally, you want AoE and you want burst, and they have both in spades.
It seems a little bit scary, but they didn't get here by not being bold. Shazam facing off against complexity. I'm excited, guys. Uh-oh.
A quick emergency.
What does that mean? I'm not sure exactly what that means. Is it like...
See, normally if it's an emergency, it like came up and you're not really prepared to deal with it.
Yeah.
So you don't know how long it's going to take until you deal with it.
What if you, like, accidentally cut yourself and you need a quick Band-Aid? That's a quick emergency.
But how do you know like how bad the cut is until you get in there?
It's true. And also, it's like, how are you going to cut yourself playing Dota? You're just like moving your fingers.
I just
so
like how
fast.
Swindles instantly dropped the question mark, like within a quarter of a second of the pause. He's like, I know you guys are trying to decide your lanes right now. That ain't gonna happen on my watch.
Yeah.
Not without a question mark, anyway.
They had a decent amount of time left on the reserve time, didn't they? Or was it getting down to 0?
I didn't see.
Not sure.
I think there
actually.
was some time, though.
Well, Shazam. Let's
Who's-
see if they get back in.
Whose draft do you guys like better?
I really
like-
like complexities more. I think. I think that with the last pick, Slark, it just sort of he's going to have to get a crazy amount of farm and get out of control. And I think that complexity have the ability to pick him off once they start getting those levels up. And by the time he comes online, I'm a little bit concerned about Tiny getting out of control.
I dislike the Slark, but I like the other 4.
Okay.
So I will say even, maybe slight Shazam favorite if I had to pick one. And Complexity are playing from EU.
I'm worried about their
Are
sustain.
they playing from EU? Or did
No,
they
they're
pick
playing
it?
in Florida.
Oh,
They're all like the
okay.
Florida
Never
team
mind,
house.
They're all good.
Do you think Shazam has enough sustain though? Like once you start spamming out,
They can get an urn. They have the Enchantress heal. They don't. Maybe the Tusk is the mech carrier.
I don't really. Is sustain really that important for them? Like Complexity can't spam that much.
They have X's and Slave. It's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, they have Ghosts though. Ghost and Shield.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
I
to
think
take
they have
those.
enough sustain for sure.
okay.
It's also kind of scary to defend your towers against Venge Tusk. They can
Yeah.
jump you pretty easily. And Complexity only has the relocate save. They don't have too much to get heroes out of.
I think they're just looking to play very aggressively though, and not let the tiny wisp have like a free time. I can kind of see Shazam doing the same thing too, though. Maybe farming up Shadow Blade on Slark, and/or Blink, and then getting level 6 on Death Prophet. But I think that Shazam has like far better early game with the Tusk Avenge, and can kind of crush some of the weaker heroes on Complexity, notably the Wisp and the Lena.
Well, I think it was an emergency because this is not quick. So now I'm convinced. Now I'm actually starting to believe it was a real emergency, guys.
They never said it was a fake emergency, but
Yeah.
it can be quick and real.
Well, if he came back in like a minute, I'd be like, no, that was a tactical pause to get
who
their lane
paused
straight.
again? It was complexity that paused or Shazam?
Shazam. It was Swindle that dropped the question mark.
Okay, got
Former Heroes of New Earth player, you know, it's your go-to move. The question marks, drop the G's, spam the alt chat.
I thought it was 4-letter words.
So I don't think you can really do it in Dota at all, but in Heroes of New Earth, you used to be able to have, like post these like giant macros that were like 30 lines long, and people would make these scripts. So anytime you'd get a kill on someone, like to try and tilt them, you'd hit the G's, which would be like a screen-wide like giant G that took up like 20 lines or something.
That sounds awful. to
You
play.
could, I think you could mute them to hide it if I recall correctly, but yeah, that was actually a toxic game. You know, Riot talks about their toxic community members, but all of Han was toxic. Still produced some of the best Dota players we have. But.
it's impressive, like to go to that level of scripting just to tilt somebody.
Well,
I
there was
mean,
just like one guy who went crazy and spent like he's like, I'm gonna make them just the meanest thing I can possibly come up with as a macro, and then I'm gonna make them all really mad, and they're gonna cry in their keyboards, and then everyone stole a script.
Was that Swindle?
That wasn't Swindle.
Okay.
But there is a great Swindle video. Oh my god, if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
you give us a summary?
I don't think I'd be able to do it justice, to be honest. I could play it into the
Oh,
headset
God.
right now. Let me see. Let me see if I can look
Production
this up.
value, everybody. This is
I'll just
this is
put
what
it-
we're
Let's
about.
see.
It involves starving children in Africa.
Oh God.
And let's just say, I think he would rather have that line back.
Okay. I'll have to check that out later. Or
There is nothing quick about this emergency, by the way.
it's a damn emergency. You look comfortable over there.
Well, my phone's charging. Oh, he's... yeah. You're talking to me. I'm like, this is not comfortable at all. But.
You got the little shoes on, booty boots. Were those the same one you had at Frankfurt?
No.
No.
I only wear these here.
Or Frankfurt qualifier.
For qualifiers? Yeah. Yeah.
I got some too, but right now I'm just rocking the purple socks.
I have like the most boring socks. I have black and I have white.
I want to hear more about this video.
I can't play it for some reason.
I still want to hear a summary from LD's standpoint.
He got in a fight with Snake King, and they went back and forth on it, and then Swindle said something which got
I hear it on pause.
narrated, by like a little voice acting, and it made him look a little silly.
Oh.
But I think he was a teenager then. Gotta remember, man, a lot of these Dota players, they're youngins.
Yeah, you make mistakes, you sort of come back off of it afterwards and come out a better person at the end. Esports is all about growth.
You're so optimistic.
Thanks, man.
I like your style.
Appreciate it. Jeez. Well, Enchantress heading off to the offlane now. Fairy Fire, a salve, a decent amount of regen. I guess the thing that I'm curious about with this offlane Enchantress, if we're going to start to see, since that camp is there, more often than not, like taking levels in Enchant just to try and get a really good creep and then win the lane that way. Uh-oh.
Oh, a little aggressive maneuver here. compLexity rolling in. Oh, beautiful shards. MSS halting any hope of aggression, but they are going to post up on the rune. They can maybe get an aggressive ward down if they so desire.
30
They'll
seconds.
sacrifice a Hawk for the greater good. Let's see where Shazam want to go. Ritsu rolling towards the bottom bounty room. Looks like they're going to run the safe lane Slark. It is the off-lane Enchantress by the looks of things in the end, so it's going to be the core chant. Seems to be the main way people are running her is in the off-lane. Haven't really seen much jungle. Haven't really seen her in any other role too often.
I like her a lot, though. I think that, you know, getting that impetus change to being able to go through BKB and also just the fact that she is faster right now without boots than a Crystal Maiden with boots. Like, the speed increases. It's just such a cool, unique design for a hero. The sort of ghetto Chen that can become like a right-click damage dealer. It's neat.
The games where she's good, she's amazing. I feel like that this hero is very snowbally. If she gets ahead, almost impossible to deal with against certain lineups. But you fall behind, you're just venison, and not in the good way. You're the one being eaten.
Well, after the pause, looks like they're ready to come on out right at the start. A couple of things going on. Apparently the warding position is very important.
It is. They placed 2 wards there
Is that
early, which is very unusual.
that sentry? Does that? I guess that blocks it.
Huh.
It shouldn't block.
It does block it. Looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it does.
So they blocked their own big camp. I guess it doesn't really matter too much if Brax is laning. At least not for now.
I don't know why you would do it, though.
They may have been trying to de-ward.
What by the sentry?
Yeah.
Yeah, they think they're just D-ward because they 5-man up that hill very aggressively.
Now they're going to go for the Ava, the toss back deep, but didn't actually get in range of tower shots, so Ritsu might be okay through this. Throwing out the first nuke. They continue pursuit, now trying to heal himself up a little bit further. Has to commit that Fairy Fire, the Spirit Siphon coming through. Toss over the top, can they get the job done? Ritsu,
They're gonna
he'll
die.
be fine. Actually, the Io getting choked down by the tower, both so freaking low. Oh my god. They live.
That Soul Siphon was huge. I think that, I don't know if they get that kill regardless, but it meant that they were sort of that much, she was that much more safe and could
He
turn
could
back
have turned around and killed the Wisp.
Yeah.
As soon as you see the Wisp taking tower, like
Wisp
he-
has just garbage armor.
Yeah, that was. I think that actually should have been first weapon. That was very, very close.
A lot
to
of
being
things that could have
disaster.
gone differently. The toss back wasn't quite in tower range. If there's like 2-3 tower shots on the Death Prophet, she probably dies there.
Yeah.
So, one of those close, scrappy fights.
So Venge is down here hanging on out with the Beastmaster and the Slark, but she keeps on roaming around a little bit. I feel like at a certain point, once you start getting those 2 boars up, you have to be careful as Slark. I mean, obviously you're always going to be able to pounce away, but one rotation, I think they can maybe find a kill.
Probably not until they have Roar.
Or if they bring down like the Bane or somebody else, like a rotation on down with maybe even a Light Strike Array, possibly.
Beastmaster's getting a lot of farm though. 7 CS is really good at this point. I guess Beastmaster should win that 1v1.
And the Venge is pretty busy in the jungle for now.
I'm very surprised that blocks.
Yeah, I guess with these new camps, players are not as familiar with the spawn boxes. Though, the way they're laning it, it probably wouldn't matter all that much.
Oh, she got the Satyr. Start throwing out Hadoukens abound.
Yeah, pretty annoying to lane against, if you're the Lina.
So what do you think about Death Prophet's build? Is it sort of constantly now going to be Soul Siphon as well as the Crypt Swarm maxed out?
4-1-2 or 4-0-3. I think 4-1-2 is slightly better.
Okay.
Crypt Swarm is too good because of damage.
It's what, 300 nuke at the max level?
think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's a really low cooldown as well.
It's your farming tool as well. So you generally max that first. Item build, I've almost exclusively seen Fades, Drums, Yules into Octarine.
Octarine is definitely core, especially with just a lot of these like up-tempo heroes that want to fight a lot being picked.
Have you guys seen the Bloodseeker DP thing? You blood rage up, and then you get the like bonus damage
on
all
the
of
ghosts,
spirits,
yeah.
all the ghosts. I don't know if it's just a gimmick or not, but
I mean,
I've
she
seen it
seemed
a
like she
couple
would die
times.
in like 2 hits, though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's-
Exactly. It's,
That's what you got the Yules for. Easy.
I guess that if you're life stealing off the back of it with Octarine,
It
there's a
seems like if she
chance.
gets ahead, that could be just
I
ridiculous.
mean, it'd be sick for tower sieging if there's no fighting.
Yeah.
That would be disgustingly good.
It's like if you have a really far ahead bristleback and then you blood rage him. It's just too tanky where he doesn't care about the bonus damage against him.
Well, we're paused up again. No big deal at all.
We got an old chicken fan in the house.
Yeah.
In the house here. Brax, of course, he made that sojourn to China ages ago. Stayed and trained with LGD in the team house. Learned at the feet of Shao
This could be like
and friends.
a karate movie, the way that you're talking about it right now.
And then he came back to the US and nothing's really happened since then. But he's improved a lot.
Yeah.
But still looking for that right mix of players.
This is going to be it. I always feel really impressed whenever I watch him play. He's just got great mechanics, I feel like, and pretty decent decision making too. Sort of consistently feels like he's in the correct place.
I think he's one of the most individually improved players over the past year and a half in the North American scene, especially if you limit it to like the veterans, because some of them maybe they learn like new heroes or new draft. But I feel like you said, his mechanics have gotten a lot better over the past year or so.
Same with Mike. Mike and Brex have both improved so much in the past like year and a half.
So that ward, does that spot, it spots the camp, does it also spot the rune? I know we've been looking at it for like 20 minutes.
Do not think so.
Has Mike's fashion decisions improved to match his improved Dota?
I have no idea.
Has he got new basketball shorts?
Oh, man, I'm wearing basketball shorts.
I would love to bring Mike out for an Insanity Hub. Yeah, but see, you're wearing them in a house.
That's true.
He wore them on stage at ESL New York. That's IX Mike for you, man. That guy doesn't give a hoot about anything.
Yeah. All right, well, we're back on into it. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. No first blood as of yet, but a couple of close positioning battles where the Wisp almost went down. I think that with Soul Siphon up and it being able to just get tossed out there with multiple charges now, I don't know if they can really find a kill with the Ava and then toss back combo unless DP eats like a ton of tower. Oh.
And while that was happening, they got first blood. So even forcing out the IOTP, that's an XD.
What an observer.
We're getting memed by the obs here.
Swindle Maloons.
Oh, that's a double win. Not only getting the kill, but IO off the lane will get the double rune spawn for Shazam as a result. And they go for the toss back. Ritsu, hey buddy, how you doing? Trying with the Spirit Siphon to hang on. He turns with the nuke. Is he going to be able to make it out? The Vengeance there. They might even get 2 kills the other way. The Shards are catching out Limp. They chase forward. They'll bring him down. The Catapult gets chucked up and finishes off the Dead Prophet, crushing her beneath its wheels. So it ends up being a 2-for-1. But on top of that,
they
the
don't
TP
get
got him.
XP.
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
That's really bad. Old DP could not handle that lane.
Yeah. That's crazy to me, like, just with the 2 rotations. If they didn't rotate, I think that she still gets out just walking away from that. But the fact that she turned back around and then was in range for the toss, like, the fact that you can turn on this type of lane is absolutely nuts to me.
How's our Enchantress doing? 16-2 against the Lina, 19-1. A pretty good time there, top. And they're going for it again. Oh, got the creep. Really hates that creep. And I do too.
Couple more Crypt Swarms getting tossed out. Just casual harassment. I don't know, is there anywhere else that really has kill potential without rotations? It doesn't really feel like it.
Top definitely does with the Bane. Bane
Yeah.
Lina. They can sleep into combo and he can't heal in time. Unfortunately, Lena needs 6 for that. And Enchantress has Fairy Fire. But she's not 6 yet, so Enchantress can feel very safe.
We're trying for Ritsu again. This time, yeah, there you go. Third time's the charm. They get the grab, and SVG a bit too late to the party. He will Wave of Terror, but doesn't have the follow-up here.
And that time the Soul Siphon was down. They didn't have it back up in time. It just came up after he died.
Definitely seems like that's the difference maker.
Yeah.
I think his mentality was that, oh, the heroes have been sitting behind me a lot. They'll probably expect that. But compLexity actually have a high ground ward, so they knew that there weren't any support sitting behind.
Yeah, good move to keep on going for the top
Uh-oh,
lane.
Tuska's getting...
Looks like there's a jump.
What is happening to Bane? Bane looks like he's dying. He's gonna
Yes,
get
Bane
right.
is
Okay. Ooh.
a little giggling.
Yeah.
Sleep wake up. With a creep.
What
Very
was
nice.
that giggle?
That was Tusk, I think.
Didn't? Oh, okay.
Was it Tusk?
I don't know. I thought it was Bane, maybe?
He's giggling while he's dying.
Maybe the sleep. I
It
don't
was
know.
morbid.
He's a masochist, I'll tell you. I actually have no idea.
Tiny top of the CS. It doesn't really feel like Shazam has the same, like, they're not really completely and totally dominating the lanes in any way. It does feel like they're doing a good job in all of them, but I kind of, with a lineup that wants to be able to get there early, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pressure towers.
I think they're doing a really good job because what you usually see Wiz do is play super greedily. They get the rune a lot, tiny farms mid constantly, and they stack 2 camps at once. They've only been able to stack the big camp twice. They haven't stacked the camp to the left of that, and they've died a few times, and the Wisp was TP'd. So
The Wisp TP'd also hasn't gotten that many runes, so it's been pretty bad for
they
that
haven't been
combo.
able to play greedy, and they're still losing out in terms of what's going on around the map.
They are CSing well elsewhere, but Chessie, he may end up going down. Tries to throw out the stun. Is there follow-up? They slept up Brax. Chessie will TP away. Brax trying to isolate him in the trees. Bit too late. But again, the pressure is there. I will say, in good news for compLexity, though, they're keeping up the farm on all 3 cores and overall are a bit ahead in terms of CS.
So is it just DP get in the ulti and then start trying to take the tower? I'm not sure exactly how you pressure it. Do you try and bring multiple heroes in and kill off the IO Tiny?
You need a pressure to safe lane to the point where it will crumble. With creeps, they can easily dive the Bane and the Lina, and then they can force a rotation, get the tower, and then once that happens, you can try and invade Wisp stacks. So I think that lane is the super weak point for them. Beastmaster is pretty difficult to kill. They really need the Venge there, but as long as Sark gets farm, I don't really think they care that much. But I think that safe lane is kind of the weak point for them, at least until Wisp gets 6. If Wisp gets 6 quickly, then they have to be very careful about where they can pressure. But I'm not sure how close he is to 6.
We're going to hold the line mid. Ritsu backing off to his own jungle. 4-2 the score at 9 minutes. Another slow burner for us here in the American region.
DP Arcane Rune.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Doesn't have a lot of mana. I think he saved this one maybe. Well,
I think
it
he's
might
old
be
with
worth
it.
Yeah.
You can even get the 10-minute rune with it and don't like double rune.
Mm.
Arcane rune seems disgustingly good on Death Prophet.
Yeah, that Crypt Swarm.
Or just lowering your exorcism cooldown by
That's true.
like tens of seconds.
Or the mana cost is the other thing. Like, everything about it is just perfect for her. Go for it. Popping it out now is going to be able to spam out the waves a little bit more, or possibly just make her way into there.
It is definitely...
She's getting dope. Okay.
Well.
He wanted to top himself off with the Arcane rune, but he didn't actually bottle himself up to full, which is not good.
This is also when Tiny really hits his power peak as well for the early combos.
That's really 2 kills I don't think they should have gotten. First one was Death Prophet not playing well around her Siphon cooldown, and the second one was her being a little bit greedy with the Arcane rune and not topping herself off. So that's... They were doing very well before that, but after those 2 kills, Tiny is kind of where he wants to be. Before that, he was underfarmed.
Yeah, just going to TP right back on the mid lane, so... Shazam not really... It's kind of an... There's a weird dichotomy where the Slark wants some farm time, he wants to play a more slow, passive game, and the Death Prophet, you really want to be pushing along with these supports. They're going to make their move, though. They find Swindles, but with no Death Prophet nearby, it's just a kill. No conversion into an objective. So I'm not sure if what they're going to focus on here. Do they 4-man with the Death Prophet, just let the Slark farm? Do they just all 3 of their cores farm?
Well, you were mentioning trying to pressure the safe lane, and it feels like that's what they need to do.
They can't anymore because
Yeah.
Wisp is 6. They got too many kills on Death Prophet. Now
And
Wisp is
Tiny
6.
is Blink now.
Yeah, that's what they can't allow to happen. Because once Tiny gets Blink, now everyone's vulnerable, right? Like that's just kind of a really bad sign for them.
They are relocate onto Brax. He's picked up an Ogre Club. He gets off the heel before this one starts. The combo comes through. Everything thrown at Mr. Brax' old chicken. And they will toss him out like yesterday's rubbish. compLexity now. Do they turn this into a push?
So you can see how like the Death Prophet kills like meant so much for compLexity. Like Wisp catching back up in levels, Tiny getting his Blink, and that's kind of all the pieces that they need with Shazam. I think they're still waiting for that mobility item on Slark, the Shadow Blade or the Blink. I think actually Mason likes Blink a little bit more, but I personally think it's the Shadow Blade game. But whatever he's waiting for, that's kind of I think what they're looking for, so they can feel very safe about their ganks. But
Making their move again, this time on Ritsu in the middle lane. Can Brax turn this one around? The shards are there. Not quite on the mark. They're still going to snowball. Commit for this. Do they get the kill? Uppercut coming through, but Limp turns. He gets up the toss. MSS down. One more. Imp should get the job done. No, out of mana and gets slept as well. Had the stick. They're going to heal Limp up. They might even be able to combo Brax down. They're thinking about it. And again, Shazam getting thwarted. Just not quite on the same page. And it is starting to feel like it's going to be all on the Slark.
look
to
at Death
carry
Prophet's
this one.
net worth, though. It is.
Speaking of Slark, roared.
Oh, jeez.
And oh, sorry, that's not the Slark, the Venge.
Oh,
but
that's-
we'll get caught out.
He has Necro?
We'll end up going down.
Wow.
he just picked it up
That
also.
is insane.
Uh-oh. Well, now speaking of the Slark, he's getting bullied by that Necro. And another kill top. Oh my god, Shazam just crumbling.
The Death
If
Death
this
Pro-
is their
Look
magic
at Death
trick.
Prophet's net worth. He's below the Wisp.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Had such a good start too. They
Yeah.
failed the combo multiple times. They weren't stacking, but I mean, to me, this is like all on Mason right now.
Yep. As is kind of usual. I see actually this kind of often where Mason is the only one that's like doing decently well. Actually, I
How
think
much
Brax
of that
doing
is like
well,
the
too.
team versus just Mason's playstyle not meshing?
I think it's mostly just the Death Prophet dying too many times. Like I think Brax was doing very well in the offlane. They pressured very heavily. He got pretty good farm, and then Tiny just ruined her day. And then, yeah, that's.
I kind of think though that like you have something there that you think about it, instead of this being a Slark player, imagine it being a Necrolite. You know, you throw that hero into the mix instead, and then you can start grouping together once you get ulti up on DP and take towers. You can pressure and just like keep it coming the whole time. And
It seemed like they wanted a little late game insurance, but at the same time, they're not really fighting around the Death Prophet at all. It's now 13 minutes in, haven't used it yet, haven't tried to take a tower, or any objectives for that matter. Like, if you're just going to farm like this, Death Prophet's normally not the hero.
Well, you also have to consider this decision as a supports. They chose to smoke bottom to kill Beastmaster when they potentially could have smoked and double killed mid, and that would have set them back pretty far behind. So that's.
And now you pretty much have to gank mid.
It's not easy to pin on anyone, but I think it's overall the team not focusing enough on the mid lane.
maybe just also a bit of miscommunications going on and not all being on the same page slightly.
This might also be like a Treads game from Death Prophet. You'll see the phase drums a lot, but versus Tiny, you just want to survive the combo. As well as, like, you know, versus Lina and Beastmaster. So
He may have already committed to them by the time he started
Yeah,
dying,
that's
though.
true.
It is a little tricky now, and with the relocate online, they kind of have to gank mid or they're going to get counter ganked super hard. So we see Lina making aggressive.
They need to
jaunt
make sure
towards
they
the
keep
mid lane.
Vision up on compLexity. If they get Vision, they can just instant kill anyone with Tiny. And then they immediately have to start off the fight 4-on-5. So, like, Vision is key.
Do you think Shazam can take this in the late game? Is there a capability for them to make that happen?
Not if Tiny gets big, which is kind of shaping up to be that point.
I mean, in theory, I think they were decent if they were even, but
Yeah.
if Tiny's ahead, then definitely not.
Like, Lina has pretty good farm now, too, which is really bad.
They're using the Beastmaster quite well. On top of that, you can see Tiny sieging. He's got vision behind the tower from the Hawk.
I'm just surprised he had Necrobook at that point in time. That's a really early Necrobook considering
He's the
he died
third
twice.
most farmed. He's ahead of his own Lina.
He must have been really good about managing his goal on his death, so.
Does he have Iron Talon? Is that
I don't know. He had Brown Boots, Stout, Quelling Blade, I think, and Necro.
It does seem like the change up in position is a lot more suitable for Swindle overall compared to going mid. Seems more comfortable.
There's that little bit of a transition period, but yeah, now that he's sort of settled into the role, definitely. I like the Enchantress picking up the Ogre Club, and it has the treads there also. We are hearing a Avatos. A bit more damage coming out. No, not going to be able to get it. It looks like Slark might be hunting
Oh,
now.
they're going to make their move on Handskin. Can he get out of here in time? No, he's just going to sack it. Grab the little IO.
It's a smart move by Slark, knowing that without the Avalanche, there's no way that they can save him.
He's going drums.
HP's good.
They got the combo. Fear the combo.
Radiant's bottom tower
Are they going to try to go for 2 bottom? Got the Necro.
are fortified.
Nah, just one. It's okay. They're making Shazam kind of choose in between what they want to do. They killed Wisp, but they're still not going to be able to get a tower out of it freely. So even though they get a kill, they still lose a tower. That's how bad of a position Shazam is in right now.
It seems like they are going to settle on the top lane, but without that X, we've still not seen an Exorcism this game. Oh, 17 minutes in.
The age-old trade. T1 top for Roche.
Never really feels good.
No, I think you're.
If you get the 2 towers, I think it's fine.
I think you're kind of happy though for Shazam. Like just getting gold is good.
You're not getting massacred for a minute.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to push this second one too, because they've got Arcane Rune up on DP. They're going to be able to pop the ulti for
I
it.
mean, they have to fight into Aegis on Tiny though.
It's a Necro
Yeah.
3 Beastmaster.
Like if Death Prophet dies with her ulti on, that's just straight. Like they lose the fight. That
Yeah.
is catastrophic. Them losing.
she needs to use her ulti though. My God.
Yeah.
Like this, there's no point in picking Death Prophet if you got. And it's not just his individual play. It's just like the whole team should be playing around the ult, but they just have not been able to at all.
Yeah.
For their
Definitely.
mentality though, Death Prophet's a really good hero, so she can just work well in any lineup because she scales decently with Octarine now. So I can see why they did it. I don't agree with the decision of hey, let's just put her into any lineup that doesn't pressure towers very well, but I can see why.
Well, and the other thing is that if you're going to go late, I think you need to have a couple of heroes that scale better later. I don't think Enchantress scales that amazingly once you get to like the super duper late game.
She's good, but not versus this lineup because Tiny will just blink on her and annihilate her, so she can't go damage items. So if you're forced to go tank, then that means you can't do damage, which means you don't scale well. So it's kind of a byproduct of complexity's lineup.
But again, I think that lane could have worked a lot better if she was a little more careful. Like we saw the potential of the Spirit Siphon to actually counter the combo.
Oh yeah.
So I don't even think the lane matchup was that bad. It was more just
No,
that
it
once you
wasn't.
make the mistakes, then you're pretty screwed.
I mean, they got the kill first. That should be.
Should be easy for her. Also, could have gotten the kill when the IO tanked the tower shots. I mean, there were things that
Right.
could have gone
It's
differently.
never easy for Tiny Wisp against Tiny Wisp though.
It's definitely not.
It's a
All
wash
right.
is a win.
Dragon Lance online.
He has mana issues, I think.
Oh yeah.
500. Does have Wand, so charges on that. Also the value salve for a little bit later on.
If you pop your heal, that's almost a third of your total mana pool.
Oh god, and he's got Ags now. This is going to be a big old stack for Tiny too.
Juicy creeps. I know Mason normally likes to try and sneak in a Midas on his Slark when he can, but
Not this.
did
game.
not manage to do it this game. So keeping up with the Tiny might be difficult.
He knew his team was in trouble and that it was up to him to make the plays. But
Yeah.
he's been trying to make the plays, but I mean, Complexity have been playing pretty like their positioning has been really good.
Yeah.
Can't go on Bane.
Oh, that timing. Sea Freak with the God awareness.
God, if he catches sight of him, this is going to be a kill if they're not careful. DP's behind him, so it might be a little bit difficult to find it, but he really wants to get him. He's just going to go back and farm some creeps. A little bit too dangerous with not seeing too many people on the map.
Book 3 and 2,400 gold? Are you kidding me?
No Iron Talon either. It's just straight up Beastmaster.
No.
Wow, that is insane.
Imagine if he
farm of
had an
Beastmaster.
Iron Talon. He'd have like 2,000 more gold right now. Easy.
That's super problematic because now Slark can die to this guy.
He can solo kill pretty much anyone.
You can solo kill.
Maybe not
maybe
Enchantress.
Not Enchantress.
Yeah.
But anyone else, yes. That
How much
does
bo-
really bad.
How much bonus attack speed do you get from Inner Beastar? Oh god, big team fight going out.
40-ish?
DP is dead, as is the Enchantress, and the Slark somewhere else across the other
that
side.
was that a solo kill?
Yeah, that was a
That
solo
was a solo
kill.
kill. I just want to point out we're now 21 minutes in. We have yet to see a single exorcism this game. Death Prophet has been a walking ranged creep.
Radiant's middle
Man.
tower has fallen.
That does not feel good if you're Shazam.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, and now, I mean, the other thing is that any one of those individual things, like Tiny as big as he is, or, you know, Beastmaster with the Blink and the Necrobook level 3 is petrifying. But the fact that you have all of these things together, and now I think with the aura coming out from the Beastmaster, as well as Overcharge coming out, I think that Tiny still hits Enchantress fairly hard.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even need it.
It sounds good.
You don't even need to attack her.
Yeah.
You can just
You just
double
nuke
her
her
and
down.
Attack someone else.
Yeah.
They have so much nuke damage.
Laguna Blade. Just
This
one
is where
time.
Enchantress, like, this is, I was kind of mentioning at the beginning of the game, like, if you get ahead on that hero and you can't burst her, she's really scary. But if you're behind, Lena's not even that farm, but Tiny is also a huge nuker. She
Yeah.
just dies instantly to the combo. It's,
I mean, shit, even Bane, Brain Sap.
and Shazam is just not really a great come-from-behind lineup. Slark is pretty scrappy in those situations. Even Tusk is not bad, but Death Prophet and Enchantress, these are heroes that really want to be even or ahead to have a good shot.
Well, and even Slark, I think, is the way that he comes back best is against uncoordinated teams who will sort of leave a couple of heroes floating around.
And who do you go on? Because if you
Right.
find the IO Tiny and they're alone, maybe you can kill the IO, but that's really about it. Otherwise, you go on anyone else, you're getting relocated on. Beastmaster could solo kill you. We already saw that. So, also playing in the dark, it is very tough to make any plays as a Slark.
And they had the Shadow Blade on Lena. So that's like so many ways to pick people off. Grip from the fog.
Oh, this positioning could work out really well for compLexity potentially, but they're coming around from the south side. They might actually get the jump here. Swindle, oh, the quick reactions. He blinks out, dodging the bullet that Mason was packing. Smoke gank, a complete airball. And they still play in the dark.
And their ward will immediately die. That's
So
kind
demoralizing.
of Shazam's poor positioning. You want your Shadow Blade hero up in front, so that hopefully you can scout them before the blink. But like he Shadow Bladed, he kind of got a little bit of distance. But by the time they saw the Beastmaster saw one of their smoke supports and just blinked out.
Also, just great reactions in the end by Swindle.
Yes.
Where just about a quarter of a second for the blink out there.
Had to, but
I-
still not perfectly executed.
Definitely not.
I just saw also their little logo down there on the ground. It's a little wand with some stars coming out of it. Look at that. That is awesome. It's the one lead thing they have going for them in this game.
You are the most optimistic person I think I've met in a long time, Gabe.
They have a sick logo.
It's so
You know,
legit.
guys, like they're getting their asses beat. They're just miserable right now, but their logo's really cool, so that at least they got that going for them. Oh my goodness.
Silver linings.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm not sure they're appreciating their logo right now. I'm pretty sure they want to win, but
Oh, fair enough.
it is a cute logo.
I wonder how flexible Shazam are. Like if they lose this game, I want to see whether or not they ban Wisp and go with Death Prophet again, which I think is a sign of stubbornness and them overvaluing Death Prophet, or if they leave out the Wisp and go for a different sort of strategy that can deal with it. But that's for next game.
Do you think that it would still try and be? I mean, this one hasn't. It hasn't felt like a push game necessarily, but maybe that was the intention. If you ended up getting more on the Death Prophet, do you think that that's the style that they go for again, or would it maybe be like?
I
know,
honestly
four
think
protect
they
one?
just need a more protection for Death Prophet. Like they needed Abaddon or something, I think, or Bane to protect her in the mid lane, or Winter Wyvern.
That's a hero we haven't seen in a while.
compLexity playing it safe here for now.
Yeah, not for protect one. Ritsu likes to get his farm on.
Yeah.
Maybe even play Bat Rider a little bit earlier, just because I think they're really good with that hero.
It was
or-
banned phase 2, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like I think they could have gone into this position where they just like pick Bat Rider and then ban out Vengeful Spirit at their first pick again. So I don't know. I think they have a lot of options open to them. I just hope they don't stick to the same thing again.
Well, let's see what they do. But for game 1, still trying to close out Shazam.
Bots and Gem. Oh, that is
This
no
is just
chance of comeback.
super map control.
Yeah. They're just giving them no wiggle room. Okay,
They have to
Shadow
escape
Blade-
Alcatraz now. That's pretty much the state of Shazam currently as they relocate directly on top of the combo coming out from the Tusk, but Ritsu finally first exorcism of the game. Oh, baby! Yeah, see you later. That was cute for about 5 seconds. They're getting massacred. This is a beatdown. Pack it in. No children allowed. This is too ugly. Rated R. Not fit for consumption by youngins.
Looking for the venge here on the backside of it also, and gonna toss on in the Bane, because why not? A couple more right clicks, and it's gonna be another dead hero. Got off the Wave of Terror first, so some value minus armor, but I'm not sure.
You are so optimistic.
I'm not sure if it's gonna make the difference.
You know, we should have shot bets around for him, like special rules for him around excessive optimism.
No, the Rage DC.
Oh, jeez.
Ritsu's back!
Now you see me, now you don't. Shazam! He's just practicing his magic
Awesome.
tricks, Ben. Come on, why you gotta go fiend in drama, man?
Oh, come on, it's Ritsu.
I am sure there was a couple drops of sodium chloride in the mix
I
there.
played a pub with him. He fred first blood. He wanted a TP scroll, bottom TP scroll. He TP mid, died again, abandoned.
Wow.
Now, if he was smart, he would do the Arteezy thing, where he convinces a teammate to abandon and then mods them in his
I
channel.
mean, who
Wow.
would abandon for Ritsu?
That's the difference. He's got to build up his cred if he wants to get away with that.
1437.
Good old beating.
Yeah. Abandoned. Never mind. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. It was. Oh, it's after there. It was a bad one. It's
That,
good.
no, that was I wasn't thinking there.
Okay.
You
got
are
it.
very optimistic
Yeah.
and on your feet.
Thank you.
Very well played, complexity gaming, well executed Tiny Wisp. Window, I actually think played particularly well that game, finding out that much farm in that sort of lane.
Totally.
I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
And I think he's just more comfortable in the off lane for sure. So I like that.
Yeah.
Well played.
Awesome. Not a whole hell of a lot else to say about it. I mean, it was just a straight up beating. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they come back, like you said, with the next draft, and if we're going to end up seeing that DP.
This
picked
is
up
going to
again.
be, if they just straight lose to the next game, they have like no chance of advancing any deep in the playoffs at all. But if they can adapt, I think this is kind of where I resign them to a good team or a bad team.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good position for complexity as well. You show Tiny IO, even if, let's say, you lose game 2, other teams have to be worried about it. It's a very niche pick right now, so it really opens up the draft for them.
Aight.
Coolio.
All right, good stuff, guys. We're going to take a quick break here, but we'll be coming back relatively soon for game number 2. Stick around. You're watching the Shanghai Major Qualifiers.